Lord, whatever is the work of your hand. I know that it was a dream, but I know that it was true. Count this as my failure, Lord, that the people have turned away from you, that they have thrown aside your commandments. But mark the people of this town as no different from those of any other, no more deserving of thy wrath. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. When I came to this church, we were fighting the war to end all wars. We prayed together, and these pews were filled with men, women, children. Now the voice may ring full, but the church gives back a hollow echo. Emptiness. Emptiness in this church, emptiness in the lives of our people. It was my charge to help them fill their lives with meaning. I have failed. It is out of my hands. I have prayed that God's retribution fall upon me, but I cannot pay in full for his lost children. For the breaking of the Lord's commandments, they also must pay. And we ask God's mercy, pay they shall. Next Sunday, your new pastor will stand in my place, and I pray that his voice will be answered by a glorious chorus.
Ho, 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 ho! Hey, stupid, why don't you look where you're going? Oh, it's you.
Are you all right, Charlie?
Yeah, sure. Had my mind on other things. Sorry. You did it again, Charlie. Apologizing. Apologizing to him. He should be apologizing to you. Go ahead, smile. You won't be smiling in your next picture.
Do you have to go, Harvey? You know how much I miss you when you're away.
It's business, my sweet. If it wasn't necessary, you know I wouldn't go.
Well, I suppose, if it's business. I hate to ask you again so soon, Harvey, honey, but well, there's a few things I've just got to have.
Oh, don't be afraid to ask. Mine to earn, yours to spend. Your smile pays me, Ruby.
You're such a dear, sweet man.
I just can't make up my mind. My friend likes black.
I bet you look real good in black. You know, here at Kaler's, we like to satisfy our customers. Like that stick candy, don't you? But you don't have any pennies, do you? Well, we sell our candy here. We don't give it away. Now move on out of here. Listen, I'd like to help you with any of these now.
Oh, Kenny.
Listen, you trying any of these. I'll be right back.
You look real busy, Kenny.
I am, Mrs. Kaler, just trying to take care of the customers.
Well, just be sure you don't try more than you can handle, Kenny.
Come on, Ruby.
Don't worry, he can't hear us. Sometimes I think he keeps his ears and eyes in those ledgers.
I like your new hairstyle. You look kind of special today.
Mm-hmm. Bet I'd look real special in this red one.
I bet you would, in and out. Listen, I better take care of the customers.
Kenny, he's going out of town tomorrow. I guess I'll have to get this red gown and wear it all alone.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sharp.
Well, if it isn't Reverend Cage. Please, sit down, Reverend. Now, suppose you tell us, what can Mammon do for God?
I'm far from the one, sir, as I hope you are from the other.
Well, we do have the two most important buildings in town, mine perhaps being somewhat the more important.
I've resigned my ministry here, Mr. Sharp. It appears that more people attend your church than mine.
Well, I'm truly sorry to hear that, Reverend Cage.
I need to resolve my affairs.
Well, I suppose you've come then to discuss your loan. I hope you're ready to make your payment.
I'm afraid that's quite impossible. I must throw myself on your mercy for the remaining $360.
Well, if you'll excuse me, Reverend, I'll get the papers on that account.
But it's simply not the policy of the bank, madam. Mr. Sharp has made it crystal clear to us.
But it was not my husband's money to deposit. I need that money to pay for Sandy's dental work.
Madam, if there's some problem, be assured this bank abides strictly by the law.
I didn't mean to say anything against the bank, Mr. Sharp.
If there's anything else we can do for you, just let us know, all right? Ah, Morgan, you remind me, we have a transaction. Well, Reverend, we can look over these papers, but it appears you've had some difficulty in rendering unto Caesar.
There's no need to look, I'm afraid. I must ask for an extension.
You mean another extension, don't you, Reverend? Well, any change in our basic agreement will have to be reflected in the interest rate.
You are aware that for many years there were laws against usury.
But we live in an enlightened age, Reverend. Shall we say the principal and interest within 60 days? That seems to me to be quite generous. And I think if you have any difficulty in making your payment, I think perhaps your superiors of the church would stand good for your debt.
Say, George, who's the lucky girl for the Easter dance? You taking Missy or some new gal?
The way things look, the only thing I'll be dancing with is this here gas pump.
You ought to think about getting out more.
Ought to. That's about all I ever do think about.
Who? Afternoon, George.
Don't know whose it is. Must be a wonderful storm. Figure it'll break not too long after dark.
I'd like a word with your parents, George.
About you leaving? Talk is you resigned yesterday.
Well, the talk is correct on that one point. But I'd like to wish them well before I depart.
I suppose you want to talk about me and Missy? Get them off on that again?
No intention.
You're as bad as they are. You know that. That's my business. Nobody ever thinks about what I might want.
You seem to think quite enough about that, George. Please at least tell them that I've stopped by.
Georgie, that's Reverend Cage. You should have asked him in. What do you want?
He didn't say. He's always running his mouth like a barnyard biddy.
That's not true, Georgie. You know what I always say. If you can't say something nice
I
about...
know what you always say, 'cause you always say it.
Did you order those new tires?
You're the one that's been sitting here all day doing nothing. Why didn't you order them?
You know I got a game leg. You got to learn the business side, George. You know out front, but when you take over the business, you got to know more than that.
When I take over the business, it's sold and I'm gone.
With that girl, I suppose.
With any girl I want. I've been keeping you too long enough. I have a good mind to keep something more to my own liking.
Well, lady killer, there's some work for you to do.
Puff your pipe.
I ain't going in there. That's Lady Fitch's house. I want my ball back. Why don't you go and get it? Not me. That's old Lady Fitch's house. Doodle. Good old Doodle. Go get the ball, Doodle. Go fetch.
I tell you, Sheriff, they have no respect for property. Why, a person just isn't safe in their own home anymore. Settle down. How can I? When those little monsters are out there right this very minute trampling down my flowers. And that miserable animal is uprooting all my plants. You know, Sheriff, that I've spent years cultivating my plants. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Now, I've called the sheriff, and he knows what to do with criminals like you.
Kindly bring me my brandy. Oh, those infernal imps.
Mrs. Fitch, I haven't been to the store today, and I don't think there is any more brandy.
You think I don't know what goes on here weekends, where my liquor goes? Well, I've got to have it for my nerves. I've just got to have it. But I'm not going to purchase it to fire your deviltry.
Mrs. Fitch!
Don't talk back to me. Oh, I'd be much better off alone. I don't need people around making a mockery of order and beauty.
I could not open your hearts to grace. Mercy upon us both.
Easy, whoa!
As I saw it, it has come.
The Benson children?
Now, it won't pay for you to take their side either, I can tell you that. That trash and that vicious animal.
Well, now, I would like to take a look at the damage.
What you would like to do and what you will do are different things. Now, all I ask is to be let alone with my plans. And I expect justice.
And I do hope you get it.
Now get on after those hellish imps.
Yes, ma'am. I'll have a talk with the children and with the Bensons.
And then you'll do nothing, as you always do.
Mrs. Fitch, my suitcases are packed.
Why, Elma, what in the world are you talking about? Why, the forsythia are almost ready to bloom.
The way of it is, Mrs. Fitch, I work for you, and I'm ready to work on what needs working on. But you tell me I'm carrying on and taking from you. Why, Mrs. Fitch, I don't carry on. My Bible forbids that. And I don't take from you either.
Elma, you know that we've always been able to talk things out, to be able to get along.
No, Mrs. Fitch. You've been able to talk, and up until now, I've been able to listen.
I won't stand here and debate with one of your sort.
My sort has pride too, Mrs. Fitch.
Well, now, Elma, you know perfectly well that, well, any enlightened individual would tell you that you have feelings. But you simply do not have the sensitivity.
Goodbye, Mrs. Fitch.
You think that you're needed around here? Well, I can tell you that such is not the case.
And I hope for your sake you're right.
Scaredy cat, do a goat paddle.
Okay, out of the water, criminals.
Everybody swims here.
Used to myself. But now what I really want to know is, now what happened over at Mrs. Fitch's house?
Are you going to arrest us?
Mrs. Fitch made a complaint.
About what?
Said you trampled her plants and tore up her garden.
Ain't so. I brought one to the yard and Doodles got it back. We never went near her flowers.
Now, are you sure?
You know the way she is. She tells stories all the time. Remember the man?
Oh, I remember.
What man? She said a man kept following her, looking in her windows. Why would anybody want to do that?
Bear in mind that Mrs. Fitch is a widow and she's had to live alone for a long time. And right or wrong, she thinks all she has left is those flowers.
We didn't hurt them, honest.
Now, you try to stay clear of her yard. I'm not saying that she's telling the truth. I'm just saying you can help me and her both by just staying clear.
We'll try, Sheriff. Honest.
Next time, maybe I'll swim with you.
I wonder what those children are up to. Ring the sheriff. Sheriff, Mrs. Fitch here. I just want you to know that those Benson monsters are planning something. Do nothing. They just walked right on by. But they've been watching my house, and they're up to something. I just know it. Well, if you're not going to do anything, I just want you to know that I will protect my bushes and my plants and my flowers.
Doodles, get away from there. You heard what the sheriff said. Come on, let's get out of here.
No point in calling the sheriff when he's only on their side anyway. He doesn't care if they uproot everything. Alma? Oh, I have to do everything myself.
Doodles, get away from there. What's he? I don't know, but we better get away from here.
Pesky little creature. Deserves what's coming to it. What do you want here?
Doodles is dying, and you did it. You're an old witch, and I hate you, an old witch bitch.
How dare you? Get away from my house.
What's happened here?
She gave Doodles poison, and I hate her.
You did this?
I should have known that you'd take up for those little monsters. So I took steps to protect myself. I have a right to protect myself and my property.
Y'all take Doodles and wait in the car. You know, Mrs. Fitch, we've all overlooked the idea that you make up things and tell them for the truth. Now, I guess maybe everybody kind of pitied you. But a poor dumb animal like that, it ain't never done nothing to nobody. Now, that's just about as low as a human being can get.
How dare you talk to me like that? The mayor will hear of this.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
And when he does, we'll see how much longer you hang on to your job. Nothing is safe so long as you wear that badge.
Mr. Gregg?
Hello, George. Yeah. Something I can do for you?
Well, I need some legal advice, Mr. Gregg.
That's my business. What's the matter? That Missy giving you trouble? Come on down to my office and tell me about it.
No, I mean, look, I'll only take a minute. I gotta get back to the station.
Fine. Walk along with me and tell me your problem.
It's my folks.
Something wrong with them?
Well, there's nothing wrong with their health. Well, maybe in their minds. They're old,
And sometimes they act childish, you know what I mean?
It happens, George.
I know. It's just that, well, I don't know how much longer I can keep going. I mean, I take care of the station, I look after them, and it gets me down. So, I was wondering, what would it take to have my folks placed in a county home? No, don't get me wrong, Mr. Grigg. You know I just want to do what's best for them. I mean, I just thought that there are people in the county home that know how to take care of old people.
I understand. I even thought about doing it once with my folks. Sometimes I think they'd have been better off. I'll see what I can do.
Oh, gee, thanks a lot, Mr. Grigg. I sure will rest better knowing they're taken care of.
Feeling good today, huh, Georgie?
Oh, yes. And I plan on feeling much better before long. Mother dear. I thought we had all this straightened out, Missy.
You don't know what straight is, George Clay.
I know I told you I didn't want you coming around here.
Oh, you're good at telling things, George. I remember lots of things you told me. I remember the things you told me about swimming together at Preston Lake. And I remember the things you told me in the barn after the lightning had struck the oak.
Oh, come on, Missy. Everybody knows that doesn't really count.
And I remember all the things you told me after I had to drive all the way to the city.
I got plans you'll be taken care of.
And I remember all your plans for after you got out of the Army.
I got plans, real plans. Anyway, that other was as much your fault as it was mine. It's the girl's fault. The girl's the one who makes the choice.
Well, you just go right ahead with your plans, George Clay, because...
George, Missy, it does a lawyer's heart good to see you back together again.
We're not back together, Mr. Grigg. I'll be back to see you soon, George. Maybe Mr. Grigg and I will be back together.
Bye, Missy. Trouble, George?
Maybe so, maybe not. You got anything for me?
I play to win. This is all but over.
Oh, that's great. I mean, you know, it's too bad.
That's always understood. It's an unfortunate thing. Now, the best way to approach this is for you to get them to sign this power of attorney. What for? Well, once you have their signatures, you can sell the house, you can sell the station, you can do whatever you like with whatever they have.
Whatever I want?
But you must get them to sign a legal signature right here.
Is this the only way?
It's the only reasonable way.
I said, is this the only way?
Calm down, George. No, it's not the only way. What we're discussing here is the county home. If you have their signatures, you own all properties. As they have none, they go to the poor farm.
Rick, you don't hear very good, do you? I ask you a simple question and you can't give me a simple answer?
The answer is, George, that in order to achieve what I take to be your goals, this is the rational thing to do.
Greg!
The only other way is to put your parents, both of them, in the insane asylum.
With no signature?
With no signature. But, George, the conditions in that place.
I don't care about conditions.
It's a veritable hellhole, George.
Whatever is the matter, Georgie? Today you were so cheerful, whistling like a robin redbreast. Now so glum.
Paperwork, all these bills and orders.
You don't have to trouble your head with all that now, does he, dear?
Most of it's done anyway. I just need to get your signature on these checks and this tax form, stuff like that. I can just get you to sign these. And this one. See, on this line?
So many. I don't think I've seen one like this long form.
It's a new kind of tax form. It has to do with property.
More and more. Ever since they set that new income tax upon us just before the war. Dear, try to wake up. Georgie has some papers for you to sign.
Where?
Wait a minute. What was that?
Just another one of those tax forms, dear.
What was that?
Freedom. That's what it is, freedom. I'm selling the station, I'm selling the house, and I'm free.
You were born here. Where would we live?
The county home.
Why on earth would we sell our home and move to the county?
Power of attorney.
Power of attorney. That's power enough to take me to New York or California or France.
What is it? That girl? That Missy?
No, she won't.
Has she got something to do with this?
She won't even know I'm gone until I'm on the train north.
What are you trying to do, George? You think you're going to become some kind of a Broadway boy?
I can be whatever I want. I can see something besides gas and grease and the same dull faces every day.
So, you'd do that. You'd put me and your mother out to pasture in the county home. You'd do that just to become some loungeless.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to sell the house and sell the stink of this business and get two worthless old leeches off my neck.
Who in the world can that be? Imagine, someone parked an old wagon in front of my house. Oh!
I thought so, Mr. Morgan. I thought it was your turn. I'm going to be going out. If you're thinking what I think you're thinking, it's all counted.
But, Mr. Sharp, you know I'd never think of such a thing.
Oh, no, no.
Mr. Sharp, I do need to speak with you about something.
All right. What is it?
The raise, Mr. Sharp. The raise you promised.
Have you finished the Myers account? And what about the Holdens?
But Mr. Sharp, if I had worked on the Holden account, it would have taken all day Sunday.
You know I wanted those figures. And what is this about Sunday? Old women and children have Sunday.
But, Mr. Sharp...
Listen, a man who wants to get ahead in this world thinks of Sunday as just another day. Perhaps even a day of opportunity. Sunday. Well, now let's just see, Mr. Morgan, what you've planted for my profit. Mr. Sharp. Morgan, you recall I mentioned a business transaction? Might want to show me around the farm again?
I can't say as I got any extra time.
Now, if you just think about it, Morgan, that sounds like you're biting the hand that feeds you. Now, you've taken a good-sized nip out of my bank.
All right. I'll show you why it's worth it. See over there, those trees? I'm ready to take them down to sow the full acreage for the second crop.
I suppose when you do that, you're going to be whining to me for more credit for seed and tools. What I want to know, Morgan, is when you're going to pay your debt.
I don't whine, Sharp. And I'm an honest man. Now, we had the blight and last year the grasshoppers. It's been lean, Mr. Sharp.
If you'd read your papers, that is assuming you can read, you'd know the entire economy's down. What is that building over there, Morgan?
Ice house.
You know, if you had any business sense at all, Morgan, you'd realize you could turn a tiny little profit with this ice house alone.
I farm, Mr. Sharp, and this is for keeping what comes of my farming. Now, that's what I ask, and I work full-time at it. Now, what I'm saying is you give me the fruits of my labor, and you needn't worry about your dollars.
Not worry about dollars. Back at the bank, I have ledger books. On every page, there's a name, and beside every name, there are figures, and those figures are dollars. And they are important, Morgan.
I got hope, and I got my hands, and I ain't got much else. But you know I'll pay.
No, I'm sorry, Morgan. I'm giving you till noon tomorrow. I'm calling in your loan.
The man just won't wait, Jess.
But selling that way, you know I'm no speculator. Now, you give me something I can put my hands on, and I'll spit cash like tobacco juice. Ask me to buy that cloud, my hands run through it, and I dry up.
You can put your hands on my plants and in my soil. Jess, you know you can't get a better price.
Point's well taken. Jess Hill was never one to back away from a neighbor's troubles. Of course, if we get the rains,
I'll bring it in, Jess. I've got to.
Let's call it done. Now, I don't have that kind of money around the house, so I'll have to go to the bank in the morning and work out the details. But it'll be there for you come noon.
I'm indebted to you, Jess. What I'd like is my money.
Well, you do cut it rather fine, don't you, Mr. Morgan?
I got your money, Sharp.
Well, we see what a little push can accomplish.
Let me have the money.
What money would that be?
Now, Jess Hill left enough here for me to pay my owings and to get what's needed for my planting.
No, I'm afraid you're mistaken about that.
Look, I know Jess better, and his word stands hard.
If you knew the ways of the world, Mr. Morgan, you'd know that a man's word can be bought just like a coat or a piece of meat.
Only the word of a man like you.
Now, Mr. Hill did come in, and he did want a loan. Of course, we had to discuss his reasons for that loan, and, well, we decided that he might be better off doing without that loan rather than taking the chance that the bank might have to foreclose on his farm. And, Mr. Morgan, your time has expired.
You're a thief, Sharp. You're a thief! You can't rob me of my life. You can't steal my muscle and my sweat.
Get your filthy hands off me! And get off that farm! It is over, Morgan.
You can't tell me it's done. Not after a lifetime.
Now get out, or I'll have the sheriff put you out. It's finished. Get out!
You know, Mr. Sharp, hard times like this, it seems like a neighbor ought to be helping a neighbor.
In hard times, Sheriff, a wise man looks to his own interest.
Mr. Morgan, this is the law. Maybe he ain't here.
Sheriff, if you're smart, you'll do your job. You know that light means he's in there.
Mr. Morgan?
No, I don't want any trouble. I just want my rights.
Now, Mr. Morgan, I'm sorry, but now the eviction is in order.
Well, what you should be doing is arresting that thief that's with you.
If you just listen to the man, Sheriff, you'd realize his mind's been affected. He assaulted me in my own bank.
Now, Mr. Morgan, I'm asking you, come on out and talk.
With me out, that thief walks in. Now, I've lived here all my life. My wife died of the influenza in this same house. It's everything I got. And I ain't about to walk out of it.
You had 3 extensions, Morgan, and you wouldn't pay. Now you're going to have to pay. It's just a simple matter of business, Sheriff.
Maybe not so simple either.
Look, Sheriff, I took care of this Morgan. When he needed a loan, I saw that he got it. When he didn't have a buyer for his crops, I bought.
I can imagine what kind of deal you made him. Now, Mr. Morgan, I'm asking you to put down that shotgun, come on out and talk. That's not it, Morgan. Now, I know you didn't try to hit us. That's not your way. Now, come on out.
Whatever I do, I stay.
The law's against you. Now, you've lost your right to stay. Now, I'm gonna go back to town and get as many men as I have to route you out of there. Now, you got to come on out.
I was wrong. There is one other way. I'm staying here. Here with my memories.
Man must have been crazy to do a thing like that. Look, Sheriff, you gotta understand, a man had to be crazy to do a thing like that.
That's enough. I just wished I had the power to give you the justice you deserve.
I don't know where he might be.
Let's look around. He might have left a note. Can't tell what the boy might do. He was different after the war.
There's no note here. What's that? George? George?
Locked and bolted. More than one lock from the feel of it.
Can you see him? Is he in there?
Something's moving. It might be George.
George?
It doesn't behoove an officer of the court to break laws, but anything else might take too much time.
George? There's a light in here. George!
Shape. Shadow.
It's all right, George. It's Greg and Missy.
Shape.
It's us, George. It's all right.
Shape. Shadow.
George?
It changed. The shape. It changed. I thought it was a person.
What is it, George? What did you see?
I thought it was a person. Wings and shadow.
What happened to this thing?
Face.
We have to get him out of here.
But what can we do with him? I can't even tell if he sees us or not.
Right now, there's only one place we can take him. We can't tell what he might do.
You can't. We can't.
Missy, there is no other place. Please.
Morning, Mr. Kaler.
Good morning, Kenneth. Come back in for a minute.
I put your mail on the desk there.
Oh, I'm not even bothering with the bills today, Kenneth.
Oh, is something wrong?
No, everything's just fine. I just want to take this checkbook with me to the city for a little purchase.
Fabric gowns? I know we need some new nightgown stock.
No, I told Ruby, Mrs. Kaler, a little white lie. I told her it was a business trip. You know how it is with the ladies. Nothing like that at all. It's our anniversary coming up. This town doesn't hold enough for my girl. But in the city, I can buy her the biggest, deepest rubies she could ever wish for.
That's real nice, Mr. Kaler. Real fine. You had me going for a minute there.
You'll find out, Kenneth, that's not the way of a good marriage. Well, you're in charge. I don't expect to be back until tomorrow.
I'll take care of every little thing.
I'm never afraid to leave things in your hands. Oh, if my wife needs anything.
I'll take care of everything.
I've got something to show you.
Yeah, I know you do.
Goose. This. I brought it home in case.
You can trust your Kenny.
Can I trust you to make me a real weak drink?
You want a drink?
Uh-huh.
Well, you know what I want. You can have a drink anytime.
Not here, silly. Upstairs. Playing Lord of the Manor, are you?
When the time comes, I won't be playing.
Is this where you belong, Kenny? Is this how you see yourself?
What's the matter with that?
He earned it, Harvey did. He built up his business and his store.
Did you earn it? Do you belong here?
The answer to the first is yes, I earned it. To get what I never had, I married an old man whose skin even smells musty. And the answer to the second is you wouldn't be here if I really belonged.
Are you talking about our running off together?
I told you, I earned this. I worked and schemed to get this.
Listen, Ruby.
Oh, Kenny, before you go any further, you just think about what you do with me or I do with you. Let's have our fun and not get silly. Kenny, if you're so set on making money and living a life of ease, well, why don't you go to the city where the money is?
What I want's right here.
I mean it. You're young enough and smart enough, you could get somewhere.
I don't see you boarding any trains.
Well, I am a big frog in a small pond. Well, maybe not exactly a frog. But here I could get what I wanted, and I've got it.
I can get everything I want right here.
Somebody else has it. It belongs to somebody else.
Yes, it does. He's got money. He's got respect. He's got this big house.
I meant for you to have it, Ruby. I brought your present, Ruby.
Mr. Kaler.
I'll get to you. Ruby, you tell me how you could do this to me.
Harvey, try to understand.
You may think I'm blind and stupid, but even I can understand.
Harvey, we didn't mean for it to happen, but we fell in love, Harvey.
Stop it. You've fouled our home enough without your lies.
Mr. Kaler.
And you, I was going to set you up in the store.
Mr. Kaler, it may have looked like we, but what about the store?
Nothing. You get nothing and you are nothing.
Mr. Kaler, it's my only chance. You can't take that chance away from me.
Harvey?
You killed him. You murdered Harvey.
Murder? Don't you be talking to me about murder.
You murdered Harvey.
It was an accident. You saw it. It was only an accident.
I only wanted to have some fun.
You had just as much to do with this as I did.
He was my husband.
And you're in this, too. It was only an accident. And we can make it look like an accident. Ruby, come on and help me.
I can't. I won't.
Okay, just stay here. Somebody may come by. Try up the cart on the table in there and burn anything you use. Well, come on and help me carry him to the car. What's the matter, Ruby? Why didn't you let me in?
I can't do anymore.
You don't have to. Tomorrow morning, I'll open the store just like always. You'll come in, it'll be business as usual.
But Harvey.
Harvey had an accident.
But if they find him.
They will. They'll find him in a car wreck. Here's what happened. He was going to stay out of town. He decided to come back. He got real tired, fell asleep at the wheel, and had a car wreck.
Can I have one of those? I'm so cold.
You weren't so cold a while ago.
Don't say things like that, Kenny.
Here, take this. Try to get some sleep. And just remember one thing. Business as usual.
Don't go. I don't want to be in the house alone. There's a storm.
Ruby, stop shivering. Just think about one thing. Just think about all that's coming to us.
Horse and wagon. When will these people learn that machinery's the answer? Oh, yes, just a small addition here. The only cold storage in the county.
Mr. Sharp! No! 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 Ah!
Mr. Big Shot, Mr. Know-It-All. Have a drink, Mr. High and Mighty. You think you're going to get my grace, Mr. Loverboy? Not with that face. Mr. Sid Martin, this is Mrs. Charlie Milford. Not Grace. Not Grace Black, but Mrs. Charlie Milford. Grace, love, this is Sid Martin, who used to be rich and important and fire people and try to make love to people's wives. But he looks ugly and stupid with a hole in his face.
Charlie? Glad to see you.
How are you, Sid?
Don't forget the good days, Charlie. You know, I was thinking last night about the time we painted those hogs. Old Guthrie came after us with a shotgun.
And you ran away, and I got my rear stung with rock salt. That's the way it always was, Sid. You always had the fun. I always got stung.
Charlie, what happens is not always luck. Say, you get that job over in...
You know I didn't. You fired me. But that wasn't enough. You had to spread lies about me, keep me from working other places.
That's not so. What were you drinking? You know, when Prohibition came in, I thought you'd quit. But legal or illegal, it just gets worse and worse.
You're a liar, Sid Martin. And you'd lie about Grace, too, wouldn't you?
What are you talking about, Charlie?
I'm talking about wanting to talk to you.
This hardly seems like the time.
Now, Sid, you owe me. You know you owe me.
I don't think so, Charlie. But I guess we should get this cleared up.
Get in, Mr. Wife Stealer.
Now, listen.
If you're not a liar, let's hear your side of it.
Charlie, Grace came to me for one reason, to help you out.
But you helped her out, didn't you, my old friend?
I have told you again and again that... Oh, wait a minute. Gilman, I've got an appointment.
No, Sid.
You told Martin he no longer has a deal.
I'm sorry for the delay, Mr. Gilman. I'm sure Mr. Martin will be in shortly.
Little lady, that makes it unanimous. You're sorry, I'm sorry, and Martin's going to be very sorry indeed.
I'll try his home again, sir.
When you get him, tell him Stuart Gelman has a deadline as well as a price.
Look, if I miss that appointment with Gelman, I'll lose the deal. Charlie?
We can sit together a few more minutes, Sid, old friend. Don't worry. Oh, I remember Gelman. I used to work for you, remember? Before you got to be Mr. Big Britches. Now, he's not a very patient man, but we're patient, aren't we? We'll wait until Gelman and your big fat deal are gone. Grace.
Hello, Charlie.
You had to see it was wrong what you did.
I came to get the pictures, that's all.
Leaving me like that. It was wrong. You can see that.
Leaving you. When you, sodden as usual, punched me through the door and then locked the door behind me. When you, in your stupor, accused me of being with your brother, with Sid Martin, with Carl.
You had to bring it up, didn't you? You had to talk about it. Well, I'm going to settle his hash.
Carl?
Sid Martin. I may have said a few things when I had a drink or two. But I don't need to look through a whiskey bottle to see Sid Martin.
He had to let you go, Charlie. You couldn't do the work.
Work? That's just a part of it, work. There's you and him, Grace, and he'll pay for it.
Charlie, there's no Sid in me. He did everything he could for you. And so did I. I'm taking that train out, Charlie. I'm taking the pictures and I'm leaving.
I can quit drinking, Grace.
Perhaps you can. I hope you will. But there's something really vicious, really wrong in you.
I love you, Grace.
No, you don't. That you lost. The ability to love. Goodbye.
I may not love you, but I'm not losing you to him.
Mrs. Allison, Sid. What note? I couldn't possibly have sent that. Mrs. Allison, why don't you just... Goodbye to you, too.
I know it's none of my business.
You're right, it's none of your business.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Letting my nerves betray me. The fact is that Mrs. Allison, and I assume the other members of the committee, received hand-delivered notes on our letterhead.
I didn't see
I know you didn't. The notes not only canceled the meeting, they also use words like inept and egomaniacs to explain why Sid Martin wanted nothing to do with it.
Surely no one could take that seriously.
On our letterhead with my signature?
Who could have done it?
Got an idea Charlie Milford's behind this.
Mr. Milford?
I think he's gone off the deep end.
A little out of your style, ain't it, Sid?
Did you see Charlie Milford?
Well, now, I couldn't very well miss him, but you's the one doing the speeding. I'm gonna have to charge you with this.
I was trying to catch Charlie.
Well, now, was it all that important?
Sheriff, he is driving me crazy. Making me miss appointments, turning people against me.
Charlie? Why, I never seen the day he could hold the edge to you, Sid.
It's true. I don't know what he wants. This is to get back at me.
You want to talk to Charlie, you give him a call. Don't go chasing around after him like some Barney Oldfield.
I've had enough of this. What was it all about?
You mean, what is it all about? And you already know. Wasn't that something? The sheriff being right there. I guess you got a ticket.
You sent those letters, didn't you? The letters to the committee.
I'm afraid you're losing your mind, Mr. Captain of Finances.
I've had enough of this.
I swear, Sid, you really are going off the rails.
We're going to get to the bottom of this if it takes all day.
And have you missed another appointment? You're late already.
Late? What appointment?
See what I mean? You can't even focus anymore.
Am I too late?
Mr. Martin?
What appointment did I have?
Why, none, Mr. Martin. You have the business manager of Consolidated, well, in an hour. Mr. Martin, the man did deliver the 30 barrels of whitewash.
Whitewash?
30 barrels.
What do I want with 30 barrels of whitewash?
Well, I'm sure I don't know, Mr. Martin. He showed me the order with your signature, so I assumed it was personal, and I signed for it.
I didn't order any whitewash. Milford. Charlie Milford.
Sir?
Charlie Milford! Open the door, Charlie! I know you're in there, Charlie. I want to talk to you. I'll kick it in! Open the door, Charlie!
Bring the sheriff for me.
I'm warning you, if I have to, I'll kick it in, Charlie! We're going to settle this!
Don't give up. You're doing just fine.
I'm coming in, Charlie! Now, hold it, Sid.
He is going to answer some questions. I didn't tell you before, he's got a gun.
A gun?
He held it on me.
Well, now, where's he at?
I know he's in there.
Now, Sid, come on now. You didn't really see no gun now, did you?
Of course I saw it.
Now, just calm down. Take it easy. We'll get to the bottom of this. Charlie, this is the sheriff.
Sheriff, is he?
Don't worry about him. Just get on out here. Now, Charlie, I want to hear your side of this thing.
Tell you, Sheriff, this is one-sided. I saw Sid Day first time since I resigned from the company.
Resign? I fired you. Now, Sid, what about this gun?
Gun? What gun? I tell you, Sid jumped in his car, lit out after me, came to my house, banging on my door, threatening me.
Liar. I did everything possible to help you. All you've done is tell lies. Now, Sid, I'm going to ask you to wait in the car. Well, go on. Now, Charlie, we've always had a difference ever since, well, before your wife moved out. And we've always had a difference or two about you drinking, but this is way out of scale.
Sid and I, we've been friends ever since we grew up together. I just like to do what I can.
Now, I'm not ruling you out. Now, how about let me use your telephone a minute?
Fine.
Now, Charlie, you say that you resigned on your own?
I sure did.
Now, Mr. Martin, you say that you fired Charlie?
That's right. We carried him as long as we could. I fired him in October.
Now, Mr. Martin, you didn't fire him at all. I just called your office and had your secretary to check the files. She read me his letter of resignation and yours accepting. Now, it appears that you want him to stay on.
That's not so. He's been in the files.
Now, I don't pretend to have this straight. And apparently you don't either. Now, I'm not going to arrest you for this. But now, just don't come back. And Sid, do me a favor. Now, try to get a hold of yourself, will you?
You. The way you showed up this morning. You're in this with him.
Hello, Sid.
What are you doing, Charlie? Charlie, nobody's really been hurt. We can iron this out.
Get in. You drive.
Now, Charlie, if something happens to me, there's the sheriff and Grace. Grace could...
Don't talk to me about Grace. That's taken care of. Drive to the depot, Mr. Used to Be. Now, remember when you wanted Grace, but she chose me? You hated me for that, didn't you? But then you got her back.
I swear by everything holy, absolutely nothing has happened between us.
Your job now is to bring her back to Charlie. She'll be there. Her train hasn't run yet. And you bring her back to the car. And I'm going to watch you, Sid Martin. And you better show no signs to anyone that everything's not fine.
Suppose she won't come.
With you.
Sid!
Grace, it's Charlie. You better come. Just leave that.
Charlie, I tell you that you have no cause.
It's not too late, Charlie. You can have your old job back. And if you honestly feel that I've wronged you, well, maybe I can understand that. But Grace is never.
You've gone crazy, Sid. The sheriff knows that. So you're just going off somewhere, Sid. Grace, she took the train. But no one knows where Sid went.
Charlie. If you're going to kill me, give me time to pray.
You've wasted enough time on that stuff in your lifetime. That's all I ever wanted. Justice.
Ruby, what is it?
At the window, a figure. I don't know what it was.
It's my shadow or something.
No, Lord. Help me, Kenny.
I'm getting out of here.
No, you can't. It's out there.
Come on, move upstairs. There's a lock on the bedroom door. Come on.
I am your new pastor. I feel as though I know many of you already. Welcome to the house of the Lord. Our sermon is, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Once to every man and nation